It was late November 2018, and I was stuck working the graveyard shift at a dive bar on Michigan Avenue in Chicago. By the time I got off, it was pushing midnight. The streets were deserted, just the faint glow of flickering streetlights casting long shadows across the pavement, and a bitter wind that cut through my jacket like a knife. I stood at the bus stop, shivering, feeling like something was watching me from the dark corners of the empty street. It wasn't the first time I'd waited for the late bus, but that night, the air felt wrong. Heavy, oppressive, like the city itself was holding its breath. After what felt like forever, a bus emerged from the fog. Its headlights were dim, almost sickly, cutting through the mist like tired eyes. I climbed aboard, swiped my card at the reader, and froze mid-step. The driver's seat was empty. No one was there. The wheels sat still, the dashboard dark. I called out, my voice shaky. "Hello? Is anyone driving this thing?" The words echoed in the hollow bus, swallowed by an unnatural silence. I figured maybe the driver was in the back, checking a seat or something. I mean, buses don't just drive themselves, right? So I sat down near the front, clutching my bag, trying to convince myself it was fine. But then, the bus started moving. No engine rumble, no hum of machinery, just the eerie, almost silent glide of tires on wet asphalt. I glanced out the window and my stomach dropped. The bus wasn't heading toward downtown. It veered off the main road into a narrow, unlit alley, a place I'd never seen in all my years in Chicago. The streetlights vanished, replaced by towering skeletal trees that seemed to claw at the windows. I stood up, heart pounding, and shouted, "Hey, where the hell is this bus going?" No answer, just the soft creak of the bus swaying and the faint sound of my own breathing. Then the bus stopped. I pressed my face against the cold glass and saw it. An old cemetery sprawling out in the moonlight, tombstones crooked and covered in moss. Some so worn they looked like they'd been there for centuries. I rushed to the door, banging on it. "Let me out! Somebody, please!" The door wouldn't budge, like it was sealed shut by some invisible force. That's when I heard it. A whisper, low and raspy, right behind my ear. "Don't get off. Not yet." I spun around, my heart in my throat, but the bus was empty. Just rows of cold, empty seats and a faint smell like damp earth and decay. The bus lurched forward again, slow, deliberate. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran to the emergency window, slamming my shoulder against it until it popped open with a groan. I jumped out, tumbling onto the wet ground, scraping my hands and knees. I didn't care. I ran toward the faint city lights in the distance, my breath ragged, my pulse hammering in my ears. When I dared to look back, the bus was gone. Not a trace, not even the sound of an engine fading into the night. The next day, I told a coworker what happened. His face went white as a sheet. He said the late-night bus route on Michigan Avenue, it was discontinued years ago. After a crash in 2008, where the driver and every single passenger vanished without a trace. they never found the bus either. To this day, I don't take buses after dark. And sometimes, when I'm alone at night, I swear I hear the faint hum of tires rolling closer. It was the fall of 2020, and I was pulling late shifts at a 24-hour convenience store in San Francisco. My routine was always the same. Catch the number 30 bus home around 10 p.m., collapse into bed, repeat. But that night, something was different. It was raining lightly, the kind of drizzle that makes the city feel like it's drowning in its own gloom. The bus was almost empty, just me, a couple of tired commuters, and the soft patter of rain against the windows. At one stop, a man got on. He wore a tattered white jacket, hood pulled low over his face, standing just a few feet from my seat. I don't know why, but he gave me the creeps. He didn't fidget, didn't look around, just stood there like a statue. His hands were stuffed in his pockets, and I could feel his presence like a weight pressing down on me. I pulled out my earbuds, trying to shake the feeling, and said, "Hey, do you need help with something?" He turned slowly, and I saw his eyes. They were empty, like staring into two black holes. My skin crawled. I tried to look away, but then I noticed something else. The bus windows were reflecting the dim overhead lights. My face, the seats, everything. Everything. Except him. No reflection, not even a shadow. My mouth went dry, and I managed to stammer, "Are you okay?" He didn't answer, just kept staring, his head tilted slightly, like he was studying me. The bus pulled up to the next stop, and he moved, slow, deliberate steps toward the back door. As he passed me, I swear I felt the air get colder, like stepping into a freezer. He stepped off the bus, and the door hissed shut. But right before it closed, I heard it, a faint, guttural sigh, like it came from right beside me. I whipped around, but the seats behind me were empty. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. I stayed glued to my seat until my stop, too scared to even blink. The next day, I told a coworker about it. He laughed nervously, but when I described the man in the white jacket, his face changed. He said there was a story about that route, about a man who died in a bus crash years ago. Hit and run, right on that stretch of road. They say he still gets on the number 30 sometimes, looking for someone, or maybe waiting for them to notice he's not really there. Now, every time I ride that bus at night, I keep my eyes on the floor, because I swear, sometimes I feel that cold air again, and I'm too afraid to look up. It was the summer of 2019, and I was out late with friends in Seattle. We'd been bar hopping, laughing, having a good time, until it was time to catch the last bus home around 11 p.m. The bus was packed, but oddly quiet for a late-night crowd. just the low drone of the engine and the occasional murmur from passengers staring at their phones or dozing off. I was sitting near the back with my buddy, still buzzing from the night, but something felt off. As the bus rolled through a quiet, tree-lined stretch of road, I heard it, a faint whimper, like a child crying softly. At first, I thought it was just the wind, or maybe someone's phone playing a video, but it got clearer, more distinct, like a little kid sobbing, calling out for their mom. I nudged my friend and whispered, "You hear that? That crying?" He frowned, shaking his head. "Nah, man, I don't hear anything. It's just cold as hell in here." He pulled his hoodie tighter, but I could see his breath in the air, even though the bus heater was on. The crying grew louder, more desperate. It wasn't just a sound anymore. It felt like it was coming from inside the bus, right around us. I stood up, looking down the aisle, scanning every seat. No kids, no babies, just tired strangers, oblivious to the sound tearing at my nerves. I raised my voice. "Hey, does anyone else hear that crying?" A few people glanced up, annoyed or confused, like I was making it up. One lady muttered, "Sit down, kid." The bus pulled up to a stop, a dark, empty corner with nothing but a lone streetlight flickering. The crying stopped, so suddenly it made my ears ring. I looked out the window, and my blood ran cold. Under a twisted oak tree, I saw a small figure, a child, maybe 5 or 6, standing alone, head down, in a pale dress. I blinked, and she was gone, like the darkness had swallowed her whole. The rest of the ride, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. My friend didn't say a word, just kept rubbing his arms like he couldn't get warm. A few days later, I mentioned it to a driver I knew from that route. His face darkened and he leaned in close. He said that road, it was notorious. Years ago, a bus lost control on that stretch, killing a young mother and her little girl. The driver said people still hear the girl's cries late at night, like she's still looking for her mom, trapped on that route forever. I haven't taken that bus since, but sometimes when I'm falling asleep, I hear that sobbing again, faint, like it's calling me back.